Okay, today I went down to Best Buy to pre-order the HP TouchPad, which is the first ever web OS tablet device. And I went down there for two reasons. I went down to Best Buy to purchase an iPad 2. Now, just a quick backstory. If you saw my previous videos where I actually did an unboxing on an iPad 2 and a comparison between an iPad 2 and a Motorola Xoom, I bought that iPad 2 on launch day. And I actually did the review and turned around and sold that iPad on eBay for a $200 profit. I bought it for $700 and I sold it for $900. So it was a good deal. So in order to do the new comparison, when I actually purchase the HP TouchPad, I'm going to do a comparison between the touchpad, the Xoom, and the touchpad and the iPad 2. I need another iPad 2, so I went down to Best Buy to buy another iPad 2, and they didn't have any in stock, or so they said. I hear rumors that Best Buy actually hoards their stock so that they can actually sell them and make it an event for people to come down and have a bunch of them either on the weekend or whatnot. So they didn't have any iPad 2s. I had to go to Walmart to get one of those. But I also went down, like I said, to pre-order the HP TouchPad. And when I spoke with four different representatives from Best Buy, they all looked very puzzled when I said that I'd like to pre-order it, and they wouldn't let me do it. So I don't know why this is a different Best Buy than the Best Buy that I pre-ordered my Motorola Xoom tablet, which was no problem doing it there. But they said I can't pre-order it. So I'm going to take my chances. I'm going to guess that it's going to be pretty easy to get an HP TouchPad as long as I get there first thing in the morning when they open up. Because I doubt there's going to be a line out the door for it. Even though the kid at Best Buy tried to tell me that he thought there might be a line that would match the iPad 2's line, which I think he's crazy, but I'm not one to talk poorly about people. So the reason I'm going to go and talk about the HP TouchPad right now is give you a little preview of what to expect from the device itself before I actually have it in hand, do my unboxing and my reviews. Now, the touchpad, just to cover the specs real quick, the touchpad is going to run an operating system, the web OS operating system, version 3.0. Now, the HP touchpad is going to resemble the iPad 2 more than it's going to resemble the Motorola Xoom. Supposedly, John Rubinstein, the man who was the head of Palm before it was purchased by HP, and the man who's heading up the web OS department over there at HP, is basically the creator of this device, and he says that he's never had an iPhone and he's never had an iPad, but this device actually, like I said, most resembles the iPad in dimensions and screen resolution and things like that. So it's kind of, I believe him. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt that he's never had an iPhone or an iPad, but it is very similar to the iPad, so it's going to be interesting when I actually have them side by side to compare them. But right now I'm just going off of specs. The iPad 2 is a 9.7-inch screen, and the HP TouchPad is also a 9.7-inch screen. The screen resolution on both devices is 1024 by 768. The thing about the HP TouchPad, since it's going to be the most recent tablet on the market, it's also going to be the most powerful. It's going to have the most horsepower under the hood. Now, as that relates to actual performance, we'll have to see when I actually have my hands on the device itself. But as it stands right now on paper, it is the most powerful tablet that will be on the market when it launches. And that's because it has a 1.2 gigahertz dual-core Qualcomm Snapdragon processor in it. Like I said, on paper, it has more horsepower than the Motorola Xoom or the Apple iPad 2. Now, the touchpad has 1 gigabyte of RAM, which is the same as the Motorola Xoom tablet, also 1 gigabyte of RAM. The Apple iPad 2 has half of that. Now, the touchpad is going to come in two flavors when you first get it. Let me bring up the Best Buy website here. It'll come in a 32 gigabyte flavor, which is $5.99, and it'll come in a 16 gigabyte flavor, which is $4.99, which matches 2 of the specs on the iPad and also matches the price of the iPad 2. The iPad 2 has a bigger version, which is a 64 gigabyte version, and the iPad 2 also has 3G versions, which currently the HP TouchPad won't. Right now, the HP TouchPad is only going to be coming out in Wi-Fi models. Now, the HP TouchPad has a front-facing camera. The Apple iPad 2 and the Motorola Xoom have front and rear-facing cameras. The front-facing camera on the HP TouchPad is of a better quality than the Apple iPad. The HP TouchPad's front-facing camera is going to be a 1.3 megapixel camera. The Apple iPad 2 camera, the front-facing camera, is a VGA quality, which is less than 1 megapixel in quality. The Motorola Xoom's front-facing camera is 2 megapixels, so the quality of the camera on the Xoom is better than either device. Now, just because it only comes in a Wi-Fi model doesn't mean that it's not going to come out with 3G model, and supposedly that's coming down the line. The Wi-Fi on the HP TouchPad is 802.11b, G, and N. The Motorola Xoom and Apple iPad are 802.11a, B, G, and N. So the Xoom and the Apple iPad support A wireless, and the HP TouchPad does not, but most people don't use A anyway, so that's not going to be a big deal. All 3 tablets support Bluetooth, the same kind of Bluetooth. All 3 tablets have an accelerometer and a gyroscope. Now, the HP TouchPad has a 6,300 milliamp battery, which is a little smaller than the Motorola Xoom, but just because it has a smaller battery doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get less battery life out of it. It all has to do with performance and how the programs drain the battery. So we'll see how that works out in practice. The TouchPad is the thickest of all 3 tablets. It's 13.7 millimeters thick, compared to the Motorola Xoom, which is 12.7 millimeters thick, and the Apple iPad 2, which is the thinnest at 8.8 millimeters in thickness. And the HP TouchPad also happens to be the heaviest of all 3 tablets. It's 740 grams. The Motorola Xoom is 725 grams. And the Apple iPad 2 ranges from 601 grams to 613 grams, depending on the wireless, either if you have Wi-Fi or the 3G radio that's in the device, because that is actually, believe it or not, changes the weight of the device. So those are pretty much the spec comparisons between everything. And I'm just going to run down really quickly the devices itself. Now, like I said, it comes in 2 flavors right now. That should expand at a later date. And let me go to the HP website here. You'll notice that some of the features on this are kind of exclusive to the device itself. Now, they're mainly focusing on using the web and email and things of that nature, because the app catalog on WebOS really isn't up to par with Android and iOS. But hopefully that's going to change as time goes on. So let's just scroll down the product page here. This is the HP website again. And one thing of note is that this device is going to support Flash. Pretty much every tablet out there supports Flash except the Apple iPad. So you're going to be able to get the full web on this device. And really, like I said, they want to emphasize the web because of the lack of apps currently. Now, one other thing here, you can actually print from the device as long as you have a web-enabled HP printer. Pretty much that's a feature of the printer and not necessarily the tablet, but they're going to push it here as well. Now, they're pushing Beats audio here, which you can get on the device. I believe you have to have Beats headphones for it to work, though. It also pushes some of the games that you can play on here. And supposedly development for this device is very easy. If you're a developer, it's very easy to develop for WebOS. You're going to also have access to the Amazon Kindle store, and you're going to be able to watch movies. You're going to be able to put any media on the device, music, things of that nature. So it's going to be pretty much up to par with everything else out there. The only drawback, again, is going to be the lack of apps. Now, one other option down here, which is very interesting, if you want to exist within the WebOS ecosystem, meaning if you have a WebOS phone, which is currently the Veer, the HP Veer, or the upcoming Palm Pre 3, the upcoming HP Pre 3, you're going to be able to do this touch feature. So you're going to actually be able to touch the two devices together, and you'll be able to push a website or content that you have on one device to the other device. Somewhat similar to Chrome to phone, if you're familiar with that, with a computer and an Android phone. But this is actually, you don't have to do anything other than touch the two devices together, and it will push whatever you're doing on one device to the other. Now this is also going to come in handy if you actually get a phone call on your phone. You can actually take that phone call on the tablet itself, so you don't actually have to pick up your phone. If you're working on your tablet, you can actually take the phone call from there, which is really cool. And there's a wow feature, there's a wow aspect to this where you just be like, wow, it's pretty cool to look at. It's pretty cool to experience that way, and it makes things a little bit easier. Now, just because the app catalog isn't as vast as iOS, which has the largest amount of apps, or Android, which has a good amount of apps as well, they do have apps for this device. So don't worry, if you're interested in this device, there are apps, and like I said, hopefully it will increase with time. And Angry Birds is on the device, so that's a selling point for a lot of people. Now, a lot of the accessories here are pretty interesting. You have a case, which I hope is better than the Motorola Zoom case, because I really didn't like that and actually returned it. You have the HP Touchstone charging dock here, which has been a great feature of all WebOS devices. You can actually you don't have to plug it in. You just set it on the charging dock, and it will use inductive charging right through the back of the device to charge the tablet up, which is very cool. And you also have the option to get a wireless keyboard here. So that's pretty much a good overview of the HP TouchPad. I will be getting my hands on one, and I will do, like I said, an unboxing. I will do a review and a comparison on my channel, so stay tuned for that. So that pretty much does it for this video. I will see you next time.